Let's look at Affinity Photo's astrophotography stacking feature and how we can use it to stack just one set of monochrome data, then color map it for a vibrant color image. We will be using monochrome fit files for this example, and we will be doing the entire workflow in a 32-bit unbounded linear color space. No conversion to 16-bit is required. To begin with, let's go to File and New Astrophotography Stack. This takes us into the dedicated persona or workspace for stacking, and on the right-hand studio here, we have the Files panel where we can add our light frames and calibration frames. To start off with, let's add our light frames by going to Add Files here, then navigating to where our light frames are stored. Now we're just going to stack hydrogen alpha data, so if I double-click on this folder, you can see all of my fit files. But rather than having to make a manual selection of these files, instead I can just move out to the top folder, select that HA folder, and click Open. Now, when you add the light frames, you can view tone-stretched versions by clicking through them, and you can also exclude single frames by disabling the eye icon. I have some frames in this dataset with star trailing, and a quicker way to identify and reject those is by using Select Best Light Frames down here. So if I initially set a value of, say, 75%, and then press Return, it will go through and inspect each light frame. Once that process has completed, however, I can now just move this slider, and you can see as I move the slider, more or fewer light frames are rejected. So let's select 90% of the best light frames, and this will of course reject 10% worth of the bad frames that have star trailing. Let's move on and add the calibration frames. So I will add my bias frames just by clicking on the top level folder here and then choosing Open. Then we will add the dark frames, and finally the flat frames. Now rather than adding the top level folder, I've actually got flat frames for different filter setups. So I'll just choose the HA subfolder here and then click Open. Okay, just moving back to the light frames, you may notice that we have quite a few column defects with this particular camera. Now, when we run the stack operation, Affinity Photo will of course identify hot and cold pixels using the dark and flat frames, but we can leverage a degree of control over this process by selecting the Bad Pixel Map tool. Now, if we zoom in, we will see bad pixels highlighted in red. We can control the number of pixels identified using the threshold sliders up here. And as we can see for this particular set of data, a threshold value of 3 is not sufficient. So we will reduce this all the way down to 0.1. This does seem aggressive, but it has now identified the majority of bad pixels. However, just looking here, there are some areas of the column defect that have not been mapped as bad pixels. So we can do this manually by changing the mode to column on the context toolbar here, and then just single-clicking over any areas we can identify visually as potential column defects. So I will just quickly pan around the image. There is a very faint potential column there, and this one as well needs to be identified, and just a very faint one next to it. And I can just see some very faint column lines here. Now in this case, I've accidentally clicked on the wrong column. Not a problem, just single click on the column you misidentified to remove it from the map, and then click on the correct column. And we can just move on, just quickly panning through the image. There's another column, and one here, and here. Okay, so once we've completed this process, in order to avoid having to do this every time we stack data, we can save a bad pixel map preset using the cog icon here. Then I'll just create a preset and name it after the telescope designation. So now, anytime we stack data using this particular setup, we can instead just apply that bad pixel map preset. Okay, now we can click Stack, and Affinity Photo will align, calibrate, and stack our frames. Okay, here is our stacked result. We can click Apply to move back to the photo persona, and on the Layers panel, we can see our stacked image as a pixel layer with a gamma adjustment and a curves adjustment for tone stretching. Let's crop away the extreme edges of this document before doing anything else. So I can do this using the crop tool. We can access it from the tools panel here, or alternatively I can use C on the keyboard. Then I can just drag my crop handles in and then use return on the keyboard to commit that crop. Now we of course want to color map this data, but before we do that, let's try some further tone stretching. So I will add another curves adjustment using Command M on Mac or Control M on Windows. And I can just click drag on this graph and add some nodes to do some really extreme tone stretching. The idea is just to pull that nebula detail out and away from the background tones. Okay, now we've done our tone stretching, we can move on to the color mapping. For this, we will use a gradient map adjustment. And on this dialog, we want to click on the red node and set this to pure black. Then click on the blue node, set this to pure white. And that leaves our midtone node. Now, to get a good reference color, one technique we could use is to look at stock imagery. So let's move across to the stock panel here. I'll check I understand for the terms and conditions, then just search for nebula. Okay, there is a stock image of the Heart Nebula, so I will just click drag and bring this into my document. I need to scale this down so I can switch across to the Move tool using V on the keyboard, then hold Command on Mac, Control on Windows to resize around the center point. And I just want to pick a nice scale where it will be easy enough for me to sample one of the red tones. Okay, back on the Layers panel, double-click to bring up the gradient map adjustment again, and now, on the color dialog here, I'm going to drag my color picker and sample a suitable red tone from that stock image. Then to assign it, I can click on the eyedropper color here, and then just click to close the color wheel. Now, we need to create some separation between our false color here and the background. The easiest way to do this is to double-click and add another node to our gradient map here. Then bring up the color wheel. And because we're working in a linear color space, it's very hard to create slightly off black values. You might find that the slider is too sensitive. So instead, we can switch over to RGB sliders and input manual values. For example, I'll choose 4, 4, 4 for a neutral, just off black color. Then I can close that down and move this node to alter the balance, and I can gradually reveal or hide that nebula detail. Let's try this for now because we can always go back and revise this choice later on. We are working entirely in a non-destructive manner, so we are never committed to any particular choices. I'll hide the stock image for now, and before moving on, we may want to rotate the entire document so that the Heart Nebula is actually the correct orientation. So to do this, we can go to Document, and then just either use clockwise or anti-clockwise rotation, and we just apply that twice. Okay, moving on, I might add a straightforward brightness and contrast adjustment. Just bring the brightness up and increase that contrast as well. Then I might add an HSL adjustment, so Command U on Mac, Control U on Windows, we'll quickly add that. And I might target the reds and increase the luminosity. This reduces color intensity slightly, but we can recover that just by increasing saturation. And increasing the luminosity just helps to lift this detail away from the background tones. And again, I'll just bring the saturation up to compensate for that loss in color saturation. Now, a final step might be to enhance the structure, and we can do this using a live clarity filter. Now, by default, when we add live filter layers, they child layer into the layer that we just had selected on the layers panel. So we can just click drag and bring this out on its own at the top of the layer stack. I'll just increase the strength. Then I want to apply this selectively just to some of the nebula detail. So I will close this down, go to Layer and Invert. This will invert the clarity mask. So now I can get the paintbrush tool, increase the brush width, take the hardness down, go to my color panel, set my active color to white, and just paint back in over the areas where I want that clarity filter to apply. Now you can also experiment with where you put this filter in the layer stack. If you move it underneath the various tone stretching adjustments, for example, it will have a more pronounced effect. I could actually just drag it directly above the pixel layer and then just double click the filter and bring the strength down slightly. And this will create a stronger separation between areas of the Heart Nebula and the background detail. And I think I will leave it there for now, but I would encourage you to experiment further. There are other astrophotography video tutorials, as I use various techniques and features in each one, depending on the image being edited. I hope you found this video useful, and thank you for watching.